If your clients finish working with you and simply disappear, your business isn't broken, it's unfinished. And unfinished businesses don't fail dramatically. They quietly drain your time, your confidence, and your revenue. They make you work harder every year for results that should feel easier by now. Welcome to the Midlife Business Academy. I'm Lori Lyons, marketing strategist, business coach, and accidental techie. After years of running a successful website design agency, I'm now building the business of my dreams and helping other midlife entrepreneurs do the same. From strategy to marketing to mindset, we covered what really matters when you're growing a business that fits your life. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Midlife Business Academy. I'm Lori Lyons, and this is the final episode in our Client Journey series. Today, I'm not teaching a part of the framework and I'm not listing tactics. I'm going to show you what a real business looks like when the client journey is incomplete. It's not a mess, not a failure. It's a business that's working, but it doesn't work enough. And if you've ever thought, I don't think I have a big problem, I just feel like this should be easier by now, then this episode is going to push a bruise you may not realize you have. And by the way, I love that phrase. I used to have a coach that says, push the bruise, push the bruise. I want to push that bruise today. So I'm going to introduce you to a client, to one of my clients. Her name is Deb, and she's a health coach. She's 58. She's really good at what she does. She actually comes from a clinical medical background. She's experienced. She's thoughtful. She's really good at what she does. And her business actually brings in about $95,000 a year. Now, that gives her a really comfortable lifestyle, but she does want to grow her business. She wants to grow her business, but she doesn't want to work any more time or any more days. She still wants to keep to her 3 days a week. Would you like that? She has clients. She gets results. People thank her, and she still feels unsettled. She feels like she's starting over every single time. And that's really irritating for her because every time a client finishes working with her, she feels that kind of like that tightening that we get. It's like, okay, great. Now I need to go find more clients. So when Deb and I first started working together, she told me what she thought the problem was. She said, I need to be more consistent on social media. I might need a better platform. My coaching platform isn't great. I keep changing systems because, nothing seems to work well. I still don't get more clients. But here's the thing. She was already doing enough marketing. She wasn't invisible. She was being very visible on social media. She wasn't behind, but she was exhausted because her business kept forcing her to start over. The problem wasn't getting people in. The problem was no one stayed. So let's walk through her business stage by stage, and let's look at things where things were really breaking. So stage one is the discover stage. Now, Deb thought the problem was visibility, but it was actually recognition. And those are two very different things. Deb thought that discovery was working for her because people saw her. She posted regularly. She shared tips. She showed up. People liked her comment. She got thumbs up. She got smiley face emojis. She got hearts. They saved the posts. They did all the right social media things, but crickets. Because here's what Deb didn't see. Her content was helpful, but it was non-committal. It was encouraging, but it didn't have a good direction. People thought, yeah, this is good information. Not, this is what I need right now. She nailed my problem. So Deb just assumed that she needed more reach. She needed to post more. She needed to go to more platforms. She needed to dance on TikTok. She needed more effort. But what we actually fixed was recognition. Her potential clients weren't seeing their situation in her posts. When we worked together, we tightened her messaging. We tightened her messaging for around who this was for now, not what somebody needed eventually. And we continually seeded continuity into her posts. This is language like, this is usually where people start, but this isn't the end of the journey. It's the first phase. Discovery stopped being about attention and it became about orientation and getting started. And this one shift reduced the pressure everywhere else. On to stage 2, which is connect. Now, most of us will think this stage is about rapport, but it's really about setting expectations. Her conversations felt good. People liked her and trusted her. They had the note that she had that know, like, and trust thing really going on, and they said yes. So she assumed that the connection was solid. I would have. But the conversation was framed as a one-time solution. Clients mentally thought, well, I'll do this program, then I'll see. But when we worked together, we changed how Deb positioned the relationship. We didn't change it with pressure. We changed it with clarity. She started saying things like, working with me through this phase will help stabilize things. Most of my clients who get results here continue because the next phase is where long-term change will actually happen. This is short-term change. Let's make this long-term change. And as a health coach, you typically look at, let's get to the goal weight. If weight loss is one of the things you are working on, let's get to the goal weight. Phase 2 and phase 3 will keep you there for the rest of your life and make lifelong changes, not just short-term changes. That single sentence changed the tone of every one of her yeses. It automatically got you into the, oh, this is not a one and done. I had a business coach who said at the very front, and I've mentioned this several times during this series, she said, you're going to, count on working with me for 3 years. If you're a new business owner coming in and we're starting a new business, figure it's going to be 3 years. This is where figure it out, work it out, rock it out came in. And then I added boss it out. So figure, that's going to be a 3 to 4 year journey or a 3 to 4 time phrase journey, depending on how long your program is. So what happened was her clients started thinking that this was transactional, and they started thinking long term. Because this is exactly what we work on in the Profitable Path Blueprint call. We figure out what's happening, where your leak is. Why aren't you framing this correctly? I'm not going to help you sell it better. I'm going to help you frame it better. So now let's go to stage 3, which is engage. Now, Deb thought this stage was about delivering results, but what it really is about preventing an end. Her work was effective. Her clients felt better. They made progress. But when the program ended, so did the relationship. And not intentionally, it was structural. Because with results without context feel final. So we changed how Deb talked about the process during the work. She began naming the phases. What you're building here is the foundation. The next phase is where we make sure this actually sticks. Program, maintenance, lifelong health. It works. It's a flow. It goes together. And immediately her client started thinking, okay, this is not one and done. And they stopped feeling done. They kind of felt like, all right, they're beginning their journey. This is going to be a journey. And Deb's programs then supported that. That one shift alone increased how many of her clients continued with her, because people don't stop when they feel supported forward. They stop when the business tells them that their work is complete. Stage 4, invite. Now, Deb thought this stage was all about selling, and I bet most of you do too. It's actually about leading. When Deb thought it was about selling, that was uncomfortable for her. She didn't want to push, she didn't want to assume things. So she waited. And waiting cost her tens of $1,000s a year. How much is your waiting costing you? We replace silence with guidance, with a clear, calm invitation, like based on where you are now, the next step in your health journey is this. This is exactly what my next program supports. There was no pressure. There was no apology because this is where people usually squirm because they realize how often they've withheld direction and they called it respect. They called it being nice. By not giving a clear next step, you aren't being nice. You're leaving them floundering. So let's talk about stage 5, which is experience. Now, Deb thought this stage was about actually doing the work, but it's really about the integration and the value that you show your clients. Before, Deb's clients finished quietly. They would just finish the program and they'd go on. Afterwards, after we worked together, Deb started closing intentionally. She started having a closing call. She started having what she and I call it a next steps call. It was a call with a client to summarize, say, this is where I've been. It highlights your progress and it finishes that phase of the program cleanly, however that looks for you. It's reflection, it's recognition, it's reframing. So when you stop your one program and you're leading your client into the next step, you can use language like, stopping here is where most people plateau. Continuing is how this becomes sustainable. Continuing is how you'll generate lifelong good health habits, and you will maintain that health throughout the rest of your life. And that's not being manipulative, that's being honest. Experience doesn't end when the work ends. It ends when you make meaning. It ends when they understand. It ends when they look for the next step. It ends at stage 6, which is return. Now, Deb thought that this stage was optional, but it needed to be expected. You start your clients thinking that there is a next step from day 1, that this is only phase 1. We've got phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, however many phases you have. And once the journey was clear, the clients returned naturally. So she wasn't having to constantly go out and find new clients over and over and over again because she had a pathway. She went from keeping clients from about 6 months to an average client length of one year, 4 months. When you've got a program of 4 months and you're having to generate clients every 4 months to keep your programs filled, and it goes from 4 months, you've added another year, you added 2 more 6-month programs, and they continue, that's huge. That is enormous. So once the journey was clear for them, most of her clients returned naturally. Not all of them, but enough to stabilize their revenue, enough to remove that panic of, oh God, I've got to go get more clients, enough to stop chasing strangers. And that's why retention matters more than reach. And that's why most businesses are leaving money on the table. So you've got all these happy clients. You think that they're going to go out and tell the world about you, but they don't, which brings us to step 7, refer. Deb thought that this stage would take care of itself. But happy clients don't automatically refer. Clear clients do. So Deb begins saying to her clients, if you know someone that is like you, that wants to start getting healthier, that wants to start feeling better, that wants to be on the floor playing with their grandkids, Will you send them my way? This is who this work is designed for. Women just like you, or men just like you, that want to feel better and perhaps lose weight. When she did that, her referrals stopped being random and they started being specific and predictable. She started getting exactly the clients that she needed who were already ready to work with her because they had been referred by somebody that they know, liked, and trust. They referred their friends. So when you have long-term clients that are becoming the norm and not the exception, it totally changes your business because staying made sense for clients. And this structure creates freedom. When your structure creates the freedom that you have to build a business that gives you the business that you dream of, that keeps you at that 3 days a week, or allows you to work 3 months of the year, or three weeks of every month, or take a month-long vacation when you want to. That is the bonus. That's what happens when you have a client journey that is specific and simple and that you follow, and your clients know exactly what to expect. This whole thing hit Deb really hard. It wasn't because she was failing. She was solving the wrong problem. She thought she needed more content. She thought she needed, remember at the beginning, a better platform. She thought she needed a whole new system. But what she really needed was just some tweaking of her journey. She needed a finished client journey. And most of you listening right now are doing the same thing. You're playing at your client journey. If you even have one, or if you've even thought about it, you work harder at the top because the middle and the back are leaking, and you're constantly having to churn new clients. So it's 6 months later. Deb's business feels different. It's not louder. It's not busier. It's steadier. Clients started moving forward instead of disappearing. Her revenue stopped swinging wildly up and down because she had consistency. She knew from her numbers that if she had 10 clients in her first program, 7 of those were going to continue working on the next phase with her. That's a closing of 70% because she starts seeding phase 2 as they're moving through phase 1. She started already talking about putting them in the next phase and what was going to happen in the next phase. You know what? It can look like something like this for Deb. Phase 1, we were working on just building strength with our health journey. We were working in the gym on getting our endurance up and our stamina up. You know what? In phase 2, we're going to start working on that 6-pack ab, or even a 12-pack ab, and phase 3 might be the 6-pack ab, depending on where you start. So she started talking about the different phases as she started working with them initially. And her business finally started supporting her life. And that's what happened when the client journey works. All right, so let's turn this series into action. I don't want it to be busy work. I don't want it to be homework that sits on a list or sits in your computer somewhere. I want you to make some real strategic moves to move your business forward. So here are the 3 things that I want you to focus on. First, I want you to access the stage of business that you're in. Get honest about where you are. Are you in the figure it out, work it out, rock it out, or boss it up stage? And honestly, and if you're in the boss it up stage, this probably isn't the podcast for you. You're farther ahead of that. Most of my clients, or the people that I work with, are between that figure it out and rock it out stage. So this is specifically for you. If you're in boss it out, find something else. But I really want you to be honest about where your business is, and not where you wish that it was, but where it is today. So I want you to decide how you're going to know it's going to work. Do you want more conversions? Do you want smoother onboarding? Do you want more referrals? Data is key. I want you to track it and then adjust it where you need it. Not where you want it to be, but where it is right now. So look at where your business is right now. Are you still figuring things out and testing what works? Are you working to stabilize and gain consistency in your business? Are you optimizing and strengthening what's already there? Or are you leading and scaling at a higher level? Your stage determines what your client journey needs most. When this is identified, everything feels easier and simpler. But when it's misidentified, everything feels harder than it should. So the second action step, pick one area to focus on. Choose the stage of the client journey that aligns with the business phase that you're in and commit to improving that one area first. Don't try to do all of the stages of the business journey, of the client journey together. You'll drive yourself nuts. Choose one phase that really you are seeing the biggest leaks out of, and choose that one phase to start. Because every business has one place where it stops growing, where people hesitate, or when you aren't getting conversions, or clients finish the program that you're in with them, but they don't return or they don't refer. Maybe you need a better referral system. Again, you don't need to fix the entire journey, just the stage where you're seeing the most leaks. Then choose the next one, and then choose the next one. So the third action step, make it measurable. Decide how you know it's working. Again, go back to the data. More conversions, you feel like it's a smoother onboarding, you're getting really good client referrals, track it and adjust it as needed. This is where your strategy can replace your guesswork. When your marketing and your business stops feeling scattered, and where everything you're doing starts working together. You don't need more tactics. You just need a clearer path. And this is where the client journey will help you and guide you. So if you've been listening to this series and thinking, I can see where things aren't lining up, that's not a problem. That's awareness. And awareness is where your business can really start to grow. So if this episode made you feel uncomfortable, good. I pushed your bruise. You can't see your own journey clearly from the inside. The next step isn't another episode. It's not another free download. It's not another funnel. And it's definitely not trying to fix this alone. The next step is a conversation with me. This is a conversation to see if working together makes sense and if we're a fit to work together, and to identify where your client journey is, where it's supporting your growth, whether it's stalling, and what needs to shift next. We keep it simple. I don't overwhelm. Well, sometimes I do, just in all transparency. But we will work on clarity and direction. And you can schedule that conversation at talkwithlori.com. Come ready to talk about what you want to build next and what you're done just tolerating. Now, going through this and doing this has really reminded me that growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from choosing differently and building with intention. Growth isn't luck. It's designed. So the business of your dreams is closer than you think. It's built when you start recycling old strategies and start choosing what actually moves things forward. This is Lori Lyons. And remember, it's never too late to build the business of your dreams. I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me on the Midlife Business Academy. If today's episode made you think, or made you feel, or made you feel seen, share it with a fellow business owner who could use it too. When you're ready for more support, you'll find the link to book your Profitable Path Blueprint call in the show notes. I'll be back next week with more insight and strategy to help you build a business that truly fits your life and one of your dreams. We'll see you next time on the Midlife Business Academy.